Hi, my name is Manny, and I will be responding to Juan's claim of fact speech. And his claim is that California will fail to secede. He has three secondary claims, his first being historical events and documentation do not favor the idea of a state seceding. His second is that the difficult process necessary for a state to constitutionally secede will stop the movement to have California secede. And his third is that multiple attempts of the division of California have failed. So my first response to his first secondary claim is, well, he has a fact from the Federalist Papers. It says a state can no more secede from the Union than an individual can secede from a state because of a law he doesn't like or find constitutional. And this quote was actually not from the Federalist Papers. It was actually an interpretation from Jared Stepman. And the only information I could find about him was that he's a college graduate who studied political science. And I'm not sure how reliable he is. And this kind of undermines the point the advocate was trying to make. For his first claim, he also mentions the Civil War and how the South seceded from the Union, saying that the end result was that the South was reunited with the Union. I think this comparison is not exactly accurate because when the Civil War happened, it was many states seceding from a country, and this is very different from just one state trying to secede. And I don't think it's an accurate representation, so I don't think it's a good enough comparison. And he also fails to mention that the Civil War also led to the secession of West Virginia from Virginia, which is a big point in, I'll get to that later. Okay, so his secondary claim was that the difficult process necessary for a state to constitutionally secede will stop the movement to have California secede. And basically, he explains how 2/3 of Congress would have to approve the potential amendment, 38 out of 50 states would have to approve it, and various statistics on how difficult it is to make an amendment. But he also, he's also showing that it is a possibility, even though it's very hard, and any major change is going to have some obstacles along the way, but that doesn't mean it won't happen. For example, the right to gay marriage, there were many steps along the way, but it didn't stop them from achieving their goal. And finally, for his third claim was that multiple attempts of the division of California have failed. But he didn't mention that there have been successful attempts at dividing states in the past. For example, West Virginia did secede from Virginia during the Civil War due to conflicting interests, and this has set a precedent that California can follow. And also, North Dakota seceded from the Dakota Territory because they had different interests, and I think these two examples show that although California has failed in the past, there are successful attempts that they could follow and could be successful in the future. So in summary, I think that he did not provide enough evidence to convince me. Thank you.
Well, this is another one of those where I think you're focusing on the trees instead of the bigger picture. I think the better argument here, instead of the argument, well, it could happen and there could be some success, and the arguments that he uses to show the difficulty, well, those are unique circumstances. That just seems to me like you're automatically gainsaying the opposing point of view without thinking about the bigger picture. To me, the most obvious point here is this is really just a hypothetical argument at best. It's academic completely because there is no real risk. It's not problematic. It's not going to happen. The requirements in order to do this are so high. It's like saying, Richard will never learn how to flap his arms and fly. Well, that's true. So why are we having an argument about it? It seems to me that you kind of just went for the supporting points and try to argue those issues. And I thought you had a couple of good presses on those points. I do think that there's some problems with the analogy to the Civil War. I do think that there are some comparisons that are being made that are a little bit problematic, but I don't know that gets you that much. The likelihood of California seceding, or that we have any success on this, is, Lotto is not going to pay out on this kind of thing. It's so ridiculously small. And that's why I think that would have been maybe the better way to go on this particular argument. The theoretical possibility that it could happen, you hold out some minimal kinds of things. The comparisons to West Virginia and the Dakotas are okay, although I do think you need to provide us with some evidence on those particular points. I think, like I said, I'm back to the better argument. I think that this is just a bunch of people who are having a hissy fit because they didn't like the way the election came out, and that happens all the time, and it's just a bunch of people letting off steam. It's got no chance of going anywhere. That would be the stronger argument, to say that this isn't really an argument that's going on here. So I appreciated your efforts. I just thought that sometimes you need to look at the big picture kind of thing and say, what we're talking about here is not really necessary to discuss. All right. And by the way, I think you could also, if you found some research, like the whole effort to do this has already collapsed. The people behind it who talked about it, they've given up on any of this sort of thing. So I don't know if that proves the advocate's point or proves that there was never an argument in the first place. I think that probably proves the second one a little bit more. All right, thank you.